How much love do you have to have for a people group, an individual, or a country before you are willing to lay your life down for them? Or at least try to put down the local village man-eating lion. And that's what David Livingstone did on more than one occasion. I want to introduce you really quickly before we move on to a discussion of some history of a few different parts of Africa to David Livingstone. David Livingstone was born around the early 1800s, and he had been interested in missionary work for a long, long time. As a British man, he had felt called for a time actually to go to China and assist in the Opium Wars. But when he heard from Robert Moffat about the glowing red sun over 1,000 villages who had never heard the gospel, he was hooked. He would later go on to not only become a missionary, share the gospel, he would explore and assist in the mapping out of a great deal of many parts of Africa and lay to rest many of the mysteries of the different parts of what was at that time known as the Dark Continent. On top of everything that I've already brought forward that David Livingstone had done for these people, he was a strong advocate for the abolition of slavery. Not only would he go and speak back at his own country and in front of his own people, but he was often someone who would buy slaves from the slaves that were being sold back and forth in Africa. Many of the men who loyally followed him for years would be previously owned slaves that he had saved. So now that you know a little bit about the beginning of David Livingstone, maybe you've also heard about his most famous or infamous story. On more than one occasion, he had nearly been killed, if not by disease or lions or warring tribes. Everybody in Britain was hoping to hear news, and when he went silent for months, they finally sent out a newspaper man by the name of Stanley. Stanley would go to Africa and track down and actually successfully find Dr. Livingstone. And he is quoted for the famous line of Dr. Livingstone, I presume. To me, Dr. Livingstone is somewhat of a hero. He was when I was younger and I read a biography on him and his adventures. And I highly recommend anybody who's interested in any type of missionary work or David Livingstone look into his writings. They are fantastic and just awe-inspiring, the love that he has for these people and the sacrifices that he makes